7th of April. Good afternoon from Europe. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Piotr here, and this is Forex Global YouTube channel, and we are going to discuss Australian dollar when it comes to the second quarter, right? So we are going to discuss a little bit bigger picture when it comes to the Australian dollar. We've seen RBA earlier today on hold. Language has not been changed, and to be honest with you, it's a little bit of the surprise. We see the Australian dollar huge rally. The thing is, that's what we are going to discuss as well, that it might be either related to the huge profit taking when it comes not only to the Aussie USD shorts but also Euro Aussie dollar longs, right? That's the first thing first. The second thing, it might be overall a little bit warmer sentiment ahead of the Easter, right? Because everyone wants to be happy over the Easter, right? So we have risk on rallies when it comes to the indices. All the medias are trying to play down the coronavirus, taking into the consideration the hope that we have just few lower numbers when it comes to the new cases or the deaths, right? I would be very careful. It could be only related to the Easter, guys. That's how I see the things when it comes, especially to the Australian dollar. So without the further ado, let's have a look what we have on the particular Australian dollar charts. Alright, so let's have a look from the higher time frame perspective, right? We were discussing even monthly. Previous month, very weak close after we hit some kind of the possible demand based on the monthly chart. Huge rally, that's no doubt about it. Huge profit taking, right? But I think, and we were discussing with 54.50, so we might see retest of the most recent low, and then in my opinion we are going to see even 50, somewhere around 50 when it comes to that low, to that latest consolidation. So somewhere closer to 50. Again, the same, I think we are not done when it comes to the dip on the indices. Same here. Overall, when it comes to the commodity currencies, I wouldn't say we are at the that we created the low already. Anyway, to be honest, the current price action, of course, looks good from the perspective of the higher levels when it comes to the Australian dollar. I wouldn't be surprised to see them finally at some point hitting even 64.40, 65, and that's the last level to sell medium long term from the investment eventually perspective, not from the trading perspective. That's what we are going to discuss a little bit later today, because I think that we are overdone already a bit. Now it's gonna be better visible on the weekly chart, this 1-to-1 possible move, right? Which should bring us somewhere towards the levels we discussed a second ago, somewhere closer towards 65.50. So in that case, of course, we might see, because it's a weekly chart, we might see a higher shadow, but overall, I think that that's gonna be it when it comes to the Australian dollar. You know, with something bigger, but that's not for the Q2 in my opinion. This consolidation and the mid of that consolidation, so closer to 68, eventually maybe 70, but that would be V formation. Overall, right now we are seeing the American dollar weakening right here, right now. Anyway, that's how it looks from the weekly chart perspective. So in that case, let's switch to the daily chart. And we are testing right here, right now. We are testing daily possible supply based on drop, base, drop, retest, small rejection. So what could be the case? Let's discuss two cases. First thing first, those guys who were selling here, once we went lower, plenty of stops been moved into the entry level, right? So it could be that the current price action is nothing else than market wants to hit more stops, right? So what we might see here, a little bit of something similar to double top, where the second top is a little bit higher. Of course, we cannot, just don't get me wrong, we cannot call it double top, because double top is a topish formation and the top is somewhere here, right? Anyway, that's something similar, just to try to explain you what I'm talking about. On the other hand, if the market going to be able to close through that supply, if the market is going to be able to close through 63, the 65 we discussed from the higher time frame is going to be open. So I'm going to watch very carefully today's daily close. If we are going to draw a little bit of the upper shadow here, I might try to think from the medium term perspective to start to build Australian dollar short position. I'm tiny short from intraday perspective as well, but that's something we are going to discuss during the US cash market open. So overall, for now, the price action we see here on the Australian dollar, in my opinion, is nothing else than just profit taking. And we are getting, in my opinion, right here, right now, we are getting closer to some kind of the rejection and new shorts phase when it comes to the Aussie USD. Of course, I'm going to monitor that, and if any early developments are gonna to change my view, of course I'm gonna to tell you about it. Now let's have a look what we have on the Australian dollar versus, that we have to make some cleanings, versus euro, right? Because what happened? We had quite long consolidation period for a quite few months, right? And spike higher, all right? Now, we haven't hit quite yet the levels I would say the market was looking for. I'm talking about the levels above 2, right? There was a huge defense around the 2, so we have upper shadow towards the end of the March, beginning of April. So we're trying to move a little bit lower. But now let's make it a little bit bigger. I think that the max downside is the March open and March low. So the levels between 72, 68, 71.50. 68.50, that's the max downside in my opinion here when it comes to the euro for now. From the weekly chart perspective, the upper level we discussed a second ago, this one, that's from the weekly chart perspective, right? And then the break of that consolidation, so meaning that we might see some lower levels in case of the break of this 70 level. I don't think we are going to close on the weekly or monthly chart below 70 with this move to the downside right here, right now. So let's switch to the lower time frame and let's have a look what could be eventually the solution. I see the opportunity will come here in the mid of the range on the daily chart, so levels shy below 170, right? It could be also the top, so levels again equals to what we discussed on the weekly and monthly, the top of the consolidation, right? So overall, when it comes to the US dollar, when it comes to the euro, unless we are going to really get some kind of the miracle when it comes to the coronavirus outbreak, I think it's just the profit taking, it's just to make some people happy ahead of the Easter, and then we will see what is going to happen after after the Easter. But we can also have short discussion when it comes to Aussie Kiwi, right? Here market is trying to recover, right? So two previous examples, I'm bearish. Here, as we again tested parity, we have quite good rally here, a little bit of the double bottom. It could be the case for some longs, right? For example, the way, if you are not long yet, then what you can do, you can try to monitor breakout, retest, and much higher, right? Where, well, I wouldn't say right here, right now, higher than 115, right? The previous high, so the bigger consolidation. But if that's the case and we are going to break through, then 127, 130 could be the next target. So if you are a bullish Aussie dollar, it could be the case via neighbor, so longs on Aussie Kiwi. And if you are a bearish, I'm looking, as discussed, I'm looking for a selling opportunity on the Aussie USD or buying opportunity on the Euro USD. That's how I see the bigger picture when it comes to the Australian dollar. If I'm going to see early developments of some changes, I'm going to make the update. Guys, take care and see you around the US Cash Open. Goodbye.